Pardon me, ma'am, but one of the maids wishes to speak with you.
I can't spare the time now.
Very well, ma'am.
Which maid was it?
Therese, ma'am.
Therese?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you any idea what she wants?
Not in the least, ma'am.
She must tell you. I'm very busy and I can't see her unless I know.
I'll say so, ma'am. I could get nothing from her, ma'am. She insists that she must speak to you herself.
Tell her to wait till tomorrow.
I asked her to do that, ma'am, but she said she would not be here tomorrow.
What does she mean by that?
Pardon me for saying it, ma'am, but she is a bit singular, as I take it.
Tell her to come here. Oh, Judson, how did you happen to imagine that I would be interested in this marriage announcement?
I could hardly help it, ma'am.
I suppose you have overheard certain references to the matter between myself and my brother?
I have, ma'am, but I would never have referred to it in the least if I did not think it might be of some importance to you, ma'am, to know it.
Oh, no, of no special importance. We know the parties concerned and are naturally interested in the event. Of course, you do not imagine there is anything more.
Certainly not, ma'am. Anyway, if I did imagine there was something more, I'm sure you'd find it in your interest, ma'am, to remember my faithful services in helping to keep it quiet.
Judson, what sort of fool are you? Do you imagine I would take a house and bring this girl and her mother here and keep up the establishment for nearly 2 years without protecting myself against the chance of petty blackmail by my own servants?
Oh, ma'am, you misunderstand me.
I understand too well, and now I beg you to understand me. I have had a trifle of experience in the selection of my servants, and can recognize certain things when I see them. It was quite evident from your behavior you had been in something yourself, and it didn't take me long to get it out of you. You are a self-confessed forger.
No, please don't speak out like that. It was in confidence, ma'am. I told you in confidence.
Well, I'm telling you in confidence that at the first sign of any underhand conduct on your part, this little episode of yours will.
Ah, yes, yes, I will bear it in mind, ma'am. I will bear it in mind.
Very well. Now, as to the maid, Therese. Do you think of anything which might explain her assertion that she will not be here tomorrow?
It has occurred to me, ma'am, since you first asked me regarding the matter, that she might have taken exceptions to some occurrences which she thinks she has seen all going on in this house.
I'll raise her wages if I find it necessary. Tell her so. If it isn't money she wants, I'll see her myself.
Very well, ma'am.
Didn't you find him?
No, he wasn't there. We'll have to get a locksmith in.
Oh, no, we can't do that. It isn't safe.
We've got to do something, haven't we? I wish to God I knew a bit about these things. There's no time to waste either. They've put Holmes on the case.
Sherlock Holmes?
Yes,
How do you know?
I heard it at Leary's. They keep track of him down there, and every time he puts on something, they give notice round.
What could he do?
I don't know, but he'll make some move. He never waits long. It may be any minute.
Can't you think of someone else, as we can't find Sid?
He may turn up yet. I left word with Billy Rounds, and he's on the hunt for him. Oh, it's damnable. After holding on for 2 good years just for this. And now the time comes and she's blocked us. Look here. I'll just get at her for a minute. I have an idea I can change her mind.
Yes, but wait, Jim. What's the use of hurting the girl? We tried all that.
Well, I'll try something else.
Jim, remember, nothing that'll show. No marks. We might get into trouble.
I'll look out for that.
Come here. What is it?
Mr. Judson said I was to come.
I told Judson to arrange with you himself.
Oh, he could not, madame. I do not wish longer to remain.
What is it? You must give me some reason.
It is that I wish to go.
You've been here months and have made no complaint.
Madame, it is not so before. It is now beginning that I do not like.
What? What is it you do not like?
I do not like it, madame. It, here, this place. What you do, the young lady you have up there, I cannot remain to see. It is not well. I cannot remain to see.
You know nothing about it. The young lady is ill. She is not right here. She is a great trouble to us, but we take every care of her and treat her with the utmost kindness and...
My child! They're hurting my child!
What are you doing here? Didn't I tell you never to come down? Come with me. Come, I say. Don't be alarmed, dear. Your poor daughter's head is bad today. She'll be better soon. Therese, come to me in the morning. Come along, dear. Do you hear me? Come.
She's made it quite satisfactory, I suppose. You will not leave her now?
Leave her now more than ever before. Do you hear, young lady? What is it they make to her?
It may be that she is ill.
Oh, indeed, I think it is so that they make her ill. I will not remain to see. I can find another place. It is not so difficult.
Not so difficult if you know where to go.
Ah, that is it.
I have one address.
Bien, you know one? Est-ce what you call reliable?
Here, this is his card. Go to that address. Don't let anyone see it.
Mr. Sherlock.
Shh. Someone might hear you. Go to that address in the morning.
Don't waste time, you fool. Tell them I'm here, can't you?
Do you wish to see Mr. Chetwood, sir, or was it Miss Chetwood?
Well, I'll be blowed. You act as if I'd never been here before. How do you know but I was born in this here house? Go and tell them it's Mr. Sidney Prince, Esquire.
Oh, yes, sir. I beg your pardon. I'll announce you immediate, sir.
Ah.
Oh, is that you, Sid? I'm so glad you've come.
Hello, Sid. Did you get my note?
Well, I'm here, ain't I? That's what it is, I take it?
Yes, we're awfully glad you turned up, Sid. We might have had to get some stranger to do it.
That would be nice now, wouldn't it? Now, if your game happens to be anything off colour...
Oh, it isn't so specially dark.
Well, that's different. I say, Larrabee.
Shut up. For heaven's sake, Sid, remember, my name is Chetwood here.
Beg your pardon, my mistake. Old times when we was learning the trade together, eh?
Yes.
I hardly expected you'd be doing the iTome thing over here when I first come up with you working the Sound Steamer line out of New York.
Come, don't let's get into that now.
Well, you needn't get huffy about it. I wouldn't have been over here at all if it hadn't been for me. Excuse me, you wouldn't have been over here at all if it hadn't been for me. And you'd have never met Marge either, and a devil of a life you might have been leading.
Yes.
We know all that, Sid, but can't you open that box for us now? We've no time to lose.
Open it? I should say I could. It's one of those things that'll fall open if you leave it long enough. I'd really like to know where you picked up such a relic as this here box. It's an old-timer and no mistake. All clear, you say? No danger lurking?
Not the least.
You're not robbing yourselves, I trust?
It does look a little like it.
I knew you was on some rumlay, squatting down in this here place for over a year, but I could never seem to get a line on you. What do we got here? Oof, I trust?
Sorry to disappoint you, but it isn't.
That's too bad.
Only a bundle of papers, Sid.
Papers?
Mm-hmm.
Realize I trust?
We can't tell. It may be something, it may be nothing.
Well, if it's something, I hope I'm in on it.
Why, of course, Sid. Whatever you think is due for opening the box.
Fair enough. Now here, before we start going, what's the general surroundings?
What's the good of wasting time on?
If I'm in this, I'm in it, ain't I? And I wants to know what I'm in.
Why don't you tell him, Jimmy?
If anything happened, I don't let the office know who to look for.
Well, I'm willing to give them an idea of what it is, but I won't give them the name of the...
So all I ask what it is, I don't want no names.
You know, we've been working the continent, pleasure places and all that.
So I've heard.
It was over there. Hamburg was the place. We ran across a young girl who'd been having trouble. Sister just died. Mother seemed wrong here.
So you run across her?
Madge took hold and found that this sister of hers had been having some kind of love affair with, with a foreign gentleman of exceedingly high rank, or at least expectations that way.
Foreign gentleman.
That's what I said.
I don't care so much about that. My lazy at home.
Well, this is good enough for me.
How much was there to it?
Promise of marriage.
Broke it, of course.
Yes, and her heart with it. I don't know what more she expected. Anyway, she did expect more. She and her child died together.
Oh, dead?
Yes, but the case isn't. There are evidences, letters, photographs, jewelry with inscriptions that he gave her. The sister's been keeping them. We've been keeping the sister. You see?
Oh, it's a sister you've got here. And what's her little game?
To get even.
To get back on him for the way he treated his sister?
Precisely.
She don't want money?
No.
And your little game?
Whatever there is in it.
Well, these papers ought to be worth something.
I tell you, it wouldn't be safe for him to marry until he gets them out of the way. He knows it very well. But what's more, the family knows it.
Oh, family. Rich, I takes it.
Rich isn't quite the word. There's something else.
You don't mean? My God, which of them?
I don't tell you that.
Well, we are moving among the swells now, ain't we? But this here girl, the sister of the one who died, how did you manage to get her into it?
I picked her up, of course, and sympathized and consoled. I invited her to stay with me at my house in London. Jimmy came over and took this place, and when I brought her along a week later, it was all ready, and a private desk safe for the letters and jewelry.
Yes, combination lock and all. Everything worked smooth until a couple of weeks ago when we began to hear from a firm of London solicitors some veiled proposals were made which showed that the timing was coming. They wanted the things out of the way. Suddenly, all negotiations on their side stopped. The next thing for me to do was to threaten. I wanted the letters for this, but when I went to get them, I found that in some way the girl had managed to change the lock on us. The numbers were wrong and we couldn't frighten her or starve her into opening the thing.
Oh, I see now. You've got the stuff in here.
That's what I'm telling you. It's in there. We can't get it out. She juggled the lock.
Well, it won't take long to rectify that trifling error. But what gets me is why they broke off with their offers that way. Can you make head or tail of that?
Yes, it's simple enough. They've given it up themselves and have got in Sherlock Holmes on the case.
What's that? Is Holmes in this?
That's what they told me.
But what did he do, Sid? We haven't...
Here, don't stand talking about that. I'll get the box open. You send a telegram, that's all I want. Where's your nearest telegraph office?
Round the corner.
Well, run for it. Mind what I say. Run for it. That's 12th Bassick. He's Professor Moriarty's confidential man. Moriarty's king of them all in London. He runs everything that's shady, and Holmes has been setting lines all round him for months, and he didn't know it, and now he's beginning to find out that Holmes is tracking him down. And there's the devil to pay. He wants any cases Holmes is on. It's a dead fight between them. He'll take the case just to get Holmes. He'll kill him before he's finished with him. You can lay all you got on it.
What are you telling him?
Nothing whatsoever, except I've got a job on as I want to see him about in the morning. Read it yourself. But don't take all night over it. You can't tell what might happen.
Go on, Jim.
Keep your eyes open.
Don't you worry. I've heard of this Professor Moriarty.
If you haven't, you must have been out in the woods.
You say he's king of them all?
Bloomin' emperor, that's what I calls him.
He must be a good many different things.
You might see it that way if you looked around and didn't breathe too hard.
What does he do?
Well, I'll tell you one thing he does. He sits at home, quiet and easy, runs nearly every big operation that's on. All the clever boys are running under him one way or the other, and he holds them in his hand without moving a muscle. And if there's a slip and the police get wind of it, there ain't never any hold on him. They can't touch him. And what's more, they wouldn't want to if they could.
Why not?
Because they've tried it, that's why. And the men as did try it was found shortly after floating in the river. That is, if they was found at all. The moment a man's marked, there ain't a street as safe for him, nor yet an alley.
What's the idea of telling him about this? He might not want.
I tell you, he'll come into anything that gives him a chance at Holmes. He wants to trap him. That's what is, and just what he'll do.
Have you got it, Sid?
Not yet, but I'll be there soon.
Well said, how goes it?
So?
Now, about this Professor Moriarty.
Ask her.
It's all right, Jim. It was the proper thing to do. Gone!
Gone? She's taken him out? What do you mean?
The girl! She's got them!
How can you tell her she hasn't done the trick already? She wants to get even, you say?
Yes, yes!
Well, if she's got the thing out the box there, ain't it quite likely she sent him along to the girl as he wants to marry?
No, she hasn't had the chance.
Well, I guess you've watched her too close for her to get him out of the room.
Wait.
She couldn't have got him out of the room.
Wait.
Here, I'll get her down. She'll tell us where they are, or strangle for it. Wait here. When I get her in, don't give her any time to think.
What's he going to do?
There's only one thing, Sid. We've got to get it out of her, or the whole 2 years' work is wasted.
Look here, I don't so much fancy this sort of thing.
Don't you worry, we'll attend to it.
Now we'll see whether she will talk or not. Now tell us what we want.
You needn't tell me, I know well enough.
Oh, no, dear, you don't know. It isn't anything about locks or keys or numbers. We want to know what you've done with them. Do you hear? We want to know what you've done with them.
You will not know from me.
We will know from you, and we'll know before.
Wait, Jim.
I tell you, they're in this room. She couldn't have got them out. And I'm going to make her.
No, let me speak to her first. Don't you think, dear, it's about time to remember that you owe us a little consideration? Wasn't it something, just a little something, that we found you friendless and ill in Hamburg and befriended you?
It was only to rob me.
Wasn't it something that we brought you and your mother across to England with us, that we kept you here in our own home and supported and cared for you?
So that you could rob me.
My dear child, you have nothing of value. That package of letters wouldn't bring you sixpence.
Then why do you want it? Why do you persecute me and starve me to get it? All your friendship to me and my mother was a pretense, a sham. It was only to get what you wanted away from me when the time came.
Why, we have no idea of such a thing.
I don't believe you.
Well, believe me then. You're going to tell us what you've done with that package before you leave this room tonight.
Not if you kill me.
It isn't killing that's going to do it. It's something else.
Tell us where it is and he'll stop.
Out with it!
Oh,
Where is it?
Speak quick now. I'll give you your turn next time. That'll take it out of you.
Be careful, Jimmy.
Is this any time to be careful? I tell you, we've got to get it out of her, and we'll do it too. Will you tell? Will you tell? Will you?
Look out!
Here. Don't go to that door. See who it is.
Tall, slim man in a long coat, soft hat, smooth face, and carries an ebony cane.
Sherlock Holmes is here.
We won't answer the bell.
No, that won't do, you know. Looks crooked at the start.
You're right. We'll have him in. And come the easy innocent.
There's the girl.
Get her away, quick.
Take her up the back stairway.
She's in poor health and can't see anyone, you understand.
Yes, yes. Lock her in the room and stay by the door. You get out there. Keep quiet till there gets in the house, and come round to the front.
I come round to the front after he's in the house, that's plain.
Be ready for him when he comes out, if he's got the things in spite of us. I'll give you 2 sharp whistles. If you don't hear it, let him pass.
But if I do hear the 2 whistles?
Then let him have it. Go answer the bell. Mr. Holmes, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Who do you wish to see, Mr. Holmes?
Thank you so much. I sent my card by the butler.
Oh, very well.
Miss Faulkner begs Mr. Holmes to excuse her. She is not well enough to see anyone this evening.
Hand Miss Faulkner this card and say that I have.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Holmes, but it's quite useless, really.
I'm so sorry to hear it.
Yes, Miss Faulkner is, I regret to say, quite an invalid. She's unable to see anyone. Her health is so poor.
Did it ever occur to you that she might be confined to the house too much?
How does that concern you?
It doesn't. I simply made the suggestion. That's all. Go on, take it up.
This is really too good. Why, of course he can take up your card or your note or whatever it is, if you wish it so much. I was only trying to save you the trouble.
Thanks. Hardly any trouble to send a card.
Do you know, Mr. Holmes, you interest me very much.
Ah,
Upon my word, yes. We've all heard of your wonderful methods, your marvelous insight, your ingenuity in picking up and following clues, in the astonishing manner in which you gain information from the most trifling details. Now, I dare say, in this brief moment or two, you've discovered any number of things about me.
nothing of consequence, Mr. Chetwood. I've scarcely more than asked myself why you rushed off and sent that telegram in such a frightened hurry. What possible excuse you could have had for gulping down that tumbler of raw brandy at the Lion's Head on the way back? Why your friend with the auburn hair left so suddenly by the terrace window? And what there can possibly be about the safe in the lower part of that desk to cause you such painful anxiety?
Very good indeed. If those things were only true now, I'd be wonderfully impressed. It would absolutely. You'll excuse me, I trust. Ah, it's from Faulkner. Well, really, she begs to be allowed to see Mr. Holmes. She absolutely implores it. Well, I suppose I shall have to give way. Judson,
Sir,
ask Miss Faulkner to come down to the drawing room. Say that Mr. Holmes is waiting to see her.
yes, sir.
It's quite remarkable, upon my soul. May I ask, if it's not an impertinent question, what message you sent up that could have aroused Miss Faulkner's desire to come down?
Merely that if she wasn't down here in 5 minutes, I'd go up.
Oh, that was it.
Quite so. And unless I'm greatly mistaken, I hear the young lady on the stairs, in which case she has a minute and a half to spare.
Wonderful. Alice, or that is Miss Faulkner, let me introduce Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Mr. Holmes,
Miss Faulkner?
I'm really most charmed to meet you, although it does look as if you had made me come down in spite of myself, doesn't it? But it isn't so at all, Mr. Holmes. I was more than anxious to come, only the doctor has forbidden me seeing anyone. But when Cousin Freddie said I might come, of course that fixed the responsibility on him, so I have a perfectly clear conscience.
I thank you very much for consenting to see me, Miss Faulkner, but regret that you were put to the trouble of making such a very rapid change of dress.
Well, yes, I did hurry a trifle, I confess. Mr. Holmes is quite living up to his reputation, isn't he, Freddie?
Yes, but he didn't quite live up to it a moment ago.
Oh, didn't he? I'm so sorry.
No, he's been telling me the most astonishing things.
And they weren't true?
Well, hardly. He wanted to know what there was about the safe in the lower part of that desk that caused me such horrible anxiety.
Why, this isn't anything, is there?
That's just it. There's a safe there, but nothing in it.
Really, Mr. Holmes, that's too grotesque.
Perhaps you'll do better next time.
Yes, next time. You might try on me, Mr. Holmes.
Yes. What do you think of her?
It is very easy to discern one thing about Miss Faulkner, and that is she is particularly fond of the piano, that her touch is exquisite, her expression wonderful, and her technique extraordinary. While she likes light music very well, she's extremely fond of some of the great masters, among whom are Chopin, Liszt. She plays a great deal indeed. I see it as her chief diversion, which makes it all the more remarkable that she has not touched the piano for 3 days.
Why, that's quite surprising, isn't it?
Certainly better than he did for me.
I am glad to somewhat repair my shattered reputation. And as a reward, would Miss Faulkner be so good as to play me something of which I am particularly fond?
I shall be delighted if I can.
If you can. Something tells me that Chopin's Prelude number 15 is at your fingers' ends.
Oh, yes, I can give you that.
It will please me so much.
But tell me, Mr. Holmes, how did you know so much about my playing, my expression, technique?
Your hands.
And my preference for the composers you mentioned?
Your music rack.
Ah, how simple. But you said I hadn't played for 3 days. How did...
The keys.
The keys?
A light layer of dust.
Dust? Oh dear, I never knew Therese to forget before. You must think us very untidy, I'm sure.
Quite the reverse. I see from many things that you are not untidy in the least, and therefore I am compelled to conclude that the failure of Therese is due to something else.
What?
To some unusual excitement or disturbance that has recently taken place in this house.
You're doing very well, Mr. Holmes, and you deserve your Chopin.
Thanks.
What are you doing here, Judson?
I came to see what was wanted, ma'am.
What was wanted?
Nobody asked you to come here.
I beg pardon, sir. I answered the bell.
What bell?
The drawing room bell.
What do you mean, you blockhead?
I'm quite sure it rang.
Well, I tell you, it did not ring.
Your butler is right, Mr. Chetwood. The bell did ring.
How do you know?
I rang it.
What do you want?
I want to send my card to Miss Faulkner.
What right have you to ring for servants and give orders in my house?
What right have you to prevent my cards from reaching their destination? And how does it happen that you and this woman are resorting to trickery and deceit to prevent me from seeing Alice Faulkner? Through some trifling oversight, Judson, neither of the cards I handed you have been delivered. See that this error does not occur again.
My orders, sir.
Ah, you have orders.
I can't say, sir, as
You
I...
were told not to deliver my card.
What business is this of yours? I'd like to know.
I shall satisfy your curiosity on that point in a very short time.
Yes, and you'll find out in a very short time that it isn't safe to meddle with me. It wouldn't be any trouble at all for me to throw you out into the street.
Possibly not, but trouble would swiftly follow such an experiment on your part.
It's cursed lucky for you I'm not armed.
Yes, well, when Miss Faulkner comes down, you can go and arm yourself.
Arm myself? I'll call the police. And what's more, I'll do it now.
You will not do it now. You will remain where you are until the lady I came here to see has entered this room,
What makes you so sure of that?
because you will infinitely prefer to avoid an investigation of your very suspicious conduct, Mr. James Larrabee. An investigation that shall certainly take place if you and your wife presume further to interfere with my business. As for you, my man, it gives me great pleasure to recall the features of an old acquaintance. Your recent connection with the signing of another man's name to a small piece of paper has made your presence at Bow Street much desired. You either deliver that card to Miss Faulkner at once, or you sleep in the police station tonight. It is a small matter of consequence to me, which you do.
Shall I go, sir?
Go on, take up the card. Makes no difference to me.
If she calms down, can't he get them away from her?
If he does, Sid Prince is waiting for him outside.
A short time since, you displayed an acute anxiety to leave the room. Pray do not let me detain you or your wife any longer.
This is Mr. Holmes?
Yes,
You wish to see me?
very much indeed, Miss Faulkner. But I am sorry to see you are far from well.
Oh, no.
No? I beg pardon, but what does this mean?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
And the mark here on your neck, plainly showing the clutch of a man's fingers, does that mean nothing also? It occurs to me that I would like to have an explanation of this. Possibly you can furnish one, Mr. Larrabee.
How should I know?
It seems to have occurred in your house.
What if it did? You better understand that it isn't healthy for you or anyone else to interfere with my business.
Ah, then it is your business. We have that much at least. Pray be seated, Miss Faulkner.
I don't know who you are, Mr. Holmes, or why you're here.
I shall be very glad to explain. So far as the question of my identity is concerned, you have my name and address, as well as the announcement of my profession upon the card, which I observe you still hold clasped tightly in the fingers of your left hand.
A detective?
Quite so. And my business is this. I have been consulted as to the possibility of obtaining from you certain letters and other things which are supposed to be in your possession, and which, I need not tell you, are the source of the greatest anxiety.
It is quite true. I have such letters, Mr. Holmes, but it will be impossible to get them from me. Others have tried and failed.
What others have or have not done, while possibly instructive in certain directions, can in no way affect my conduct, Miss Faulkner. I have come to you frankly and directly to beg you to pity and forgive.
There are some things, Mr. Holmes, beyond pity, beyond forgiveness.
But there are other things that are not. I am able to assure you of the sincere penitence, the deep regret of the one who inflicted the injury, and of his earnest desire to make any reparation in his power.
How can reparation be made to the dead?
How indeed. And for that very reason, whatever injury you yourself may be able to inflict by means of these things can be no reparation, no satisfaction, no indemnity to the one no longer here. You will be acting for the living, not the dead, for your own satisfaction, Miss Faulkner, your own gratification, your own revenge.
I know from this and from other things that have happened that a marriage is contemplated.
It is quite true.
I cannot give up what I intend to do, Mr. Holmes. There are other things besides revenge. There's punishment. If I'm not able to communicate with the family to which this man proposes to ally himself in time to prevent such a thing, the punishment will come later, but you may be perfectly sure it will come. There's nothing more to say. Good night, Mr. Holmes.
But my dear Miss Faulkner, before you... What's that?
Mr. Chetwood, Mr. Chetwood,
What is
the lamp, sir, in the kitchen, sir. It fell off the table, and everything down there is ablazing, sir.
The house is on fire!
Don't alarm yourself, Miss Faulkner. There is no fire.
No fire?
The smoke was all arranged for by me.
Arranged for? What does it mean, Mr. Holmes?
That I wanted this package of letters, Miss Faulkner. I won't take them, Miss Faulkner. As you very likely conjecture, the alarm of fire was only to make you betray their hiding place, which you did, and I availed myself of that betrayal, as you see. But now that I witness your great distress, I find that I cannot keep them unless you can possibly change your mind and let me have them of your own free will. I hardly supposed that you could, and will therefore return it to you.
So you've got them, have you? Now I suppose we're going to see you walk out of the house with them.
On the contrary, you're going to see me return them to their rightful owner.
Yes, I think that'll be the safest thing for Mr. Sherlock Holmes to do.
You flatter yourself, Larrabee. The reason I did not leave the house with this package of papers is not because of you or what you may do or say or think or feel. It is on account of this young lady. I care that for your cheap bravado. Really. Miss Faulkner, permit me to place this in your hands. Should you ever change your mind and be so generous, forgiving, as to wish to return these letters to the one who wrote them, you have my address. In any event, rest assured there will be no more cruelty, no more persecution in this house. You are perfectly safe with your property now, for I shall so arrange that your faintest cry of distress will be heard. And if that cry is heard, it will be a very unfortunate thing for those who are responsible. Good night, Miss Faulkner. As for you, sir, madam, I beg you to understand that you continue your persecution of that young lady at your peril. Good evening.
Well, he didn't get it, did he?
He gave it to her.
What, he found it? I gave it to the girl? Well, here, I say, what are you waiting for? Now's a chance before she hides it again.
No, wait.
What's the matter? Do you want to lose it?
No, you're right. It's all a cursed bluff.
No, Jim.
I tell you we will. Now's our chance to get a hold of it.
I should say so.
What's that?
Someone at the door.
No, it was on that side.
I think someone knocked, Judson.
I beg pardon, madam, but there's no one at the door.
That's all.
He's got us watched. What we want to do is leave it alone and let the Emperor take it.
Do you mean Professor Moriarty?
That's who I mean. Once let him get at it and he'll settle it with Holmes pretty quick. Meet me at Leary's, 9 sharp in the morning. Don't you worry a minute. I tell you the Professor will get him before tomorrow night. He don't wait long neither, and when he strikes, it means death.
Number. Correct. Well,
I'm here, sir.
you took your time.
Oh,
Has any
many apologies.
Has any report come in from Chibley?
Nothing yet, sir.
All the others are heard from?
Yes, sir.
I was afraid we'd have trouble there. If anything happened, we lose Hickson, one of our best men. Send Bassick. Number. Correct. Before we go into anything else, I want to refer to Davidson.
I know for myself, sir. He's on bad money.
Something like 600 short on that last haul, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly something like that.
We'll have him attended to. Cregan is the one to do it. And see that his disappearance is noticed. Have it spoken of. That finishes Davidson. Now, as to this Blaisdell matter, did you learn anything more?
The whole thing was a trap.
What do you mean?
It was set and baited by an expert. It's a mess.
But those letters and papers of instructions, you brought them back or destroyed them, I trust.
Indeed, sir. Manning has disappeared. And the papers, they're gone.
Gone! Oh, Sherlock Holmes again. That is bad for the Underwood trial.
I thought Shackelford was going to get a postponement.
He tried and found he was blocked.
Who done it? Sherlock Holmes?
Yes, Sherlock Holmes again. He's got hold of between 20 and 30 papers and instructions in as many different jobs, and some as to putting a man or two out of the way. And he's gradually completing chains of evidence, which if we let him go on, will reach to me as sure as the sun will rise. Reach to me. He is playing a rather dangerous game. Inspector Wilson tried it 7 years ago. Wilson is dead. 2 years ago, Henderson took it up. We haven't heard anything of Henderson lately, eh?
No, thanks, sir.
Miss Holmes is a rather talented man. He hopes to drag me in at the Underwood trial, but he does not realize what can happen between now and Monday. He doesn't know that there isn't a street in London that'll be safe for him if I whisper his name to Cregan. I might even make a little call on him myself, just for the satisfaction of it. Oh, just for the satisfaction of it. Baker Street, isn't it his place? Baker Street, eh?
Yeah, Baker Street, sir.
Oh, we could make it safe. We could make it absolutely secure for 3 streets each way.
Yes, sir, we could, but
No, we could. We have done it over and over again elsewhere. Police decoyed, men in every doorway. Do this tonight in Baker Street. At 9 o'clock, call his attendants out on one pretext or another and keep them out, you understand? I will see this Sherlock Holmes myself. I will give him a chance for his life. And if he declines to treat with me,
Yes, that's it. What name you say? Oh, Prince. Yeah, you have to wait. Yes. I got his telegram last night. We'll tell him to come and speak to me at the phone. Yes. I got your telegram, Prince. But I have an important matter to do. You'll have to wait. Who? Whose again is this? Where is he now? Here's something, sir. I got Sid Prince here on the phone. Said he's got some job, and Holmes is fighting against him.
Nay, ask him what it is. Ask him what it is. No, wait. Let him come here.
Whoa. No one sees you, sir. No one knows you. That's what's been keeping us safe for years.
No one sees me now. You talk with him. I will listen from the next room. This is your office, you understand? Your office. I will be there.
Is that you, Prince? Yes. I phone can't come, but I'll see you here. What inches have you got? What's the name? He says there's 2 with him, a man and a woman named Robert. They won't consent to any interview unless they're present.
Send them in.
Hey, Prince. Ask Beats to come to the phone. Please. There's people with Prince. Do they seem all right? Too close. Yeah. Well, take them out through the warehouse and down the circular stairway. And if they bring them up here, by the long tunnel. Yeah, here. Look them over as long as you got to. Make sure they're not carrying anything. And watch that no one sees you. Come down. Yes. I don't like this, sir.
You don't like this. You do not like this. I tell you, it is certain death unless we can settle with this man Holmes. This is your office. You understand? Your office.
Send John here. Hey, John. Listen, there's some people coming in here. Now I want you to stand over there and keep eyeing them from behind. If you see anything suspicious, you drop your handkerchief. If it's the woman, yeah, you pick it up, and if it's the man, you leave it on the floor. You got that? Number? The 3 waiting with you? Ma'am, sir, come in. Now, I understand you to say through our private telephone that you've got something with Sherlock Holmes against you.
Yes, sir, we have.
Kindly let me have the particulars.
Well, Jim and Madge Larrabee here, which you used to know in the early days,
Okay.
They picked up a girl at Homburg where a sister had been having a strong affair of the heart with a very high young foreign noble who promised to marry her, but the family stepped in and threw the whole thing down. He behaved very bad to her and let himself out, written her letters, given her rings and tokens, you see. And there was photographs too. Now, as these various things showed how he deceived and betrayed her, they wouldn't look nice at all considering who the young man was and what high titles he was coming into.
Mm-hmm.
So when this girl up and dies of it all, these letters and things all fall into the hands of her sister, which is the one my friend here has been nursing all along together with her mother.
All right, then, where have you had the people?
We took a house up the Norrington Road.
How long have you been there?
2 years, 14th of next month.
Those letters and all the evidences of the young man's misconduct. Now, when will they reach their full value?
Well, it's now, don't you see? It's now. There's a marriage coming up and there's been offers, and the problem is to get the papers in our hands.
Where are they?
Well, the girls got hold of them, sir.
We had a safe for her to keep them in, supposing that when the time came, we could open it, but the lock was out of order and we got Princeton to help us. He opened it last night and the package containing the things were gone. She had taken them out herself.
Now, what did you do when you discovered this?
Do? I hadn't any more than got the box open, sir, and gave him one look at it when Sherlock Holmes rings the front doorbell.
There. At your house.
At my house.
You didn't get those letters.
Well, he did get them, but he passed them back to the Faulkner girl.
Passed them back? What do you mean?
There is another thing that puzzles me. There was an accident below in the kitchen. A lamp fell off the table and scattered burning oil about. The butler came running up, yelling, "Fire!" We ran down there and a few buckets of water put it out.
I have a suggestion to make. The first thing we must do is to get rid of your butler. Not discharge him, get rid of him. Craigan for that. Today, as soon as it is dark, give him 2 others to help. Mr. Larrabee will send the man into the cellar for something. They'll be ready for him there. Dalton's van will get the body to the river. Oh, it need not inconvenience you at all, madame, for we do these things quietly. What's the Seraph doing?
He's on the writing job, sir.
I'll put him with Craigan today to help with that butler. But there's something else we want. Have you seen those letters, the photographs, and whatever else there may be? Have you seen them? Do you know what they look like?
I have, sir. I've looked through them carefully several times.
Could you make me a counterfeit set of these things and tie them up so that they will look exactly like the package Sherlock Holmes held in his hand last night?
I could manage the letters, but...
If you manage the letters, I will send someone who can manage the rest. From your description, Bassick, that old German artist.
Oh, yeah. That Lufner.
Precisely. Send Lufner to Mrs. Larrabee at 11. 10:15. That gives you 3/4 of an hour to reach home. I shall want this counterfeit packet at 11 tonight. 12 hours to make it.
It will be ready, sir.
Good. Bassick, notify the Lescator that I may require the gas chamber at Stepney tonight.
Gas chamber?
Yes, the one overlooking the river. And have Craigan there 12:15 with 2 others. Mr. Larrabee, I shall want you to write a letter to Mr. Sherlock Holmes, which I shall dictate. And tonight I may require a little assistance from you both. Meet me here at 11.
This is all very well, sir, but you have said nothing about the business arrangements. I'm not sure that.
You have no choice.
No choice.
No choice. I do what I please, and it pleases me to take hold of this case.
Well, what about pleasing me?
I am not so sure, but I shall be able to do that as well. I will obtain the original letters from Miss Faulkner and negotiate for much more than you could possibly obtain. In addition, you will have an opportunity to sell the counterfeit package to Holmes tonight for a good round sum. All the money obtained from these sources shall be divided as follows. You will take 100%, and I, nothing.
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 No, but we can't negotiate for those letters until we know who they incriminate. And Mr. Larrabee has not informed us.
Mr. Larrabee is wise in exercising caution. You see, he values the keystone to his arch. But he will consent to let me know.
Professor Moriarty, that information we would like to give only to you.
Ah. Well. This is an absolute certainty.
Absolute.
Well, it means that you have a fortune. Had I known this, you should hardly have had such terms.
Oh, well, we don't object to it.
No. The arrangement is made, Mr. Larrabee. I bid you good morning. Bassick, place your men at 9 tonight for Sherlock Holmes' house in Baker Street.
You gonna let yourself, sir?
I will go there myself. Myself. I am the one to attend to this.
This meeting tonight at 12 to trap Holmes at the gas chamber on Swan Lane. What about that?
If I fail to kill him in Baker Street, we'll trap him tonight in Swandam Lane. Either way, I have him, Bassick. I have him! I have him!
Mrs. Hudson's compliments, sir, and she wants to know if she can see you.
Where is Mrs. Hudson?
Downstairs in the back kitchen, sir.
My compliments. And I don't think she can from where she is.
She'll be very sorry, sir.
Our regret will be mutual.
She says it was terribly important, sir, as she wants to know what you'll have for your breakfast in the morning.
Same.
Same as when, sir?
This morning.
You didn't have nothing, sir. You wasn't here.
Quite so. I won't be here tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Was that all, sir?
Quite so.
Thank you, sir. It's Dr. Watson, sir. You told me as I could always show him up.
Well, I should think so.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Dr. Watson, sir.
Ah, Watson, dear fellow.
How are you, Holmes?
I'm delighted to see you, my dear fellow. Perfectly delighted. Upon my word, but I'm sorry to observe that your wife has left you in this way.
She has gone on a little visit, but how did you know?
How do I know? Now, Watson, how absurd for you to ask me such a question as that. How do I know anything? How do I know that you've opened a consulting room and resumed the practice of medicine without letting me hear a word about it? How do I know that you've been getting yourself very wet lately, and that you have an extremely careless servant girl, and that you've moved your dressing table to the other side of your room?
Holmes, if you'd lived a few centuries ago, they'd have burned you alive.
Such a conflagration would have saved no considerable trouble and expense.
Tell me, how did you know all that?
Too simple to talk about. Scratches and clumsy cuts on the side of the shoe there, just where the fire strikes it. Somebody scraped away crusted mud and did it badly. There's your wet feet and careless servant all in one foot. Face badly shaved on one side, used to be left. Light must have come from the other side. Well, you couldn't have moved your window, so you must have moved your dressing table.
Yes, by Jove. But my medical practice, I don't see how you...
Now, Watson, how perfectly absurd of you to come marching in here, fairly reeking with the odor of iodoform and with black marks of nitrate of silver on your inner side of your right forefinger, and ask me how I know.
Of course. But how the deuce did you know my wife was away and...
Where the deuce is the second waistcoat button? And what the deuce is yesterday's boutonniere doing in today's lapel? And why the deuce do you wear the expression of a... Elementary, the child's play of deduction.
Which is it today? Cocaine or morphine or...
Cocaine, my dear fellow. I'm back to my old love. A 7% solution. Would you like to try some?
Certainly not.
I'm sorry.
I have no wish to break my system down before time.
Quite right, my dear Watson, quite right. But see, my time has come.
Holmes, for months I have seen you use these deadly drugs in ever-increasing doses. When they lay hold of you, there is no end. It must go on and on until the finish.
So must you go on, eating your breakfast until the finish.
Breakfast is food. These are poisons, slow but certain. They involve tissue changes of a most serious nature.
Just what I want. I'm bored to death with my present tissues, and I'm trying to get a brand new lot.
Ah, Holmes, I'm trying to save you.
You can't do it, my old fellow. Don't waste your time. Watson, to change the subject a little, in the enthusiasm which has prompted you to chronicle and, if you'll excuse my saying so, to somewhat embellish a few of my little adventures, you have occasionally committed the error or indiscretion of giving them a certain tinge of romance, which struck me as being a trifle out of place. Something like working an elopement into the fifth proposition of Euclid. I merely refer to this in case you should see fit to at some future time to chronicle the most important and far-reaching case of my career, one upon which I have labored for nearly 14 months, and which is now rapidly approaching a singular diverting climax. The case of Professor Robert Moriarty.
Moriarty? I don't ever remember having heard of the fellow.
The Napoleon of crime. The Napoleon, sitting motionless like an ugly venomous spider in the center of his web. But that web having 1,000 radiations, and the spider knowing every quiver of every one of them.
Really? This is very interesting.
Ah, but the real interest will come when the professor begins to realize his position, which he cannot fail to do shortly. By 10 o'clock tomorrow night, the time will be ripe for the arrests. Then the greatest criminal trial of the century, the clearing up of over 40 mysteries, and the rope for every one.
Good. What will he do when he sees that you have him?
Do? He will do me the honor, my dear Watson, of turning every resource of his wonderful organization of criminals to the one purpose of my destruction.
Why, Holmes, this is a dangerous thing.
Dear Watson, it's perfectly delightful. It saves me any number of doses of those deadly drugs upon which you occasionally favor me with your medical views. My whole life is spent in a series of frantic endeavors to escape from the dreary commonplace of existence. For a brief period, I escape. You should congratulate me.
But you could escape them without such serious risks. Your other cases have not been so dangerous, and they were even more interesting. Now, the one you spoke of, the last time I saw you, the recovery of those damaging letters and gifts from a young girl who... A most peculiar affair, as I remember it. You were going to try an experiment of making her betray their hiding place by an alarm of fire in her own house. And after that...
Precisely, after that.
Didn't the plan succeed?
Yes, as far as I've gone.
You got Foreman into the house as butler?
Foreman was in as butler.
And upon your signal, he overturned a lamp in the kitchen, scattered the smoke balls, and gave alarm of fire. And the young lady, did she...
Yes, she did, Watson. The young lady did. It all transpired precisely as planned. I took the packet of papers from its hiding place, and as I told you I would, handed it back to Miss Faulkner.
But you never told me why you proposed to hand it back.
For the very simple reason, my dear Watson, that would have been theft for me to take it. The contents of the packet were the absolute property of the young lady.
What did you gain by this?
Her confidence, and so far as I was able to secure it, her regard. As it was impossible for me to take the possession of the letters, photographs, and jewelry in that packet without her consent, my only alternative is to obtain that consent, to induce her to give it to me of her own free will. Its return to her, after I had laid my hands on it, was the first move in this direction. The second will depend entirely upon what transpires today. I expect Foreman here to report in half an hour.
Oh, I beg you to pardon me, sir. The boy, he said to come right up as soon as I come.
Quite right, quite right.
Oh, I fear me, sir. It's trouble, messieurs. The butler, your assistant, the one who sent me to you?
Foreman.
Him, Foreman. There is something done to him. Oh, I fear to go down to see.
Down where?
The cellar of that house. Oh, it is a dreadful place. He did not come back. He went down. He did not return.
Billy, coat, boots, and order a cab, quick.
Yes, sir.
Did anyone follow him down?
Oh, I did not see.
Don't wait, the cab. Take this, Watson, and come with me.
I had not better go also?
No, wait here. Ah, I hear Foreman coming now.
Nothing more last night, sir. After you left, Prince came in. They made a start for her room to get the package away. But I gave 3 knocks with an axe on the floor beams as you directed, and they didn't go any further. This morning, a little after 9.
One moment.
Yes, sir.
Mademoiselle, step into that room and rest yourself.
I am not tired, monsieur.
Step in and walk about then. I'll let you know when you are required.
Oh, oui, monsieur.
Take a look at his head, Watson.
Oh, it's nothing at all, sir.
Take a look at his head, Watson.
An ugly bruise, but nothing dangerous.
Very well. A little after 9, you say?
Yes, sir. This morning, a little after 9, Larrabee and his wife drove away, and she returned at about 11 without him. A little later, old Lefner came in, and the two went to work in the library. I got a good look at them from the outside and found they were making up a counterfeit of the package we are working for. You'll have to watch for some sharp tricks, sir.
They'll have to watch for the trick, my dear Foreman. And Larrabee, what of him?
He came back a little after 3.
How did he seem?
Under great excitement, sir.
Any marked resentment toward you?
I think there was, sir, though he tried not to show it.
He has consulted someone outside. Was the Larrabee woman's behavior different also?
Now I come to think of it, she gave me an ugly look as she came in.
Ah, an ugly look. She was present at the consultation. They were advised to get you out of the way. He sent you into the cellar on some pretext. You were attacked in the dark by 2 men, possibly 3, and received a bad blow from a sand club. You managed to strike down one of your assailants with a stone or piece of timber and escape from the others in the dark, crawling out through a coal grating.
That is what took place, sir.
They've taken in a partner, and a dangerous one at that. He has not only directed this conspiracy against you, but he advised the making of the counterfeit package as well. Within a very short time, I shall receive an offer from Larrabee to sell the packet of letters. He will indicate that Miss Faulkner changed her mind and she concluded to get what she can for them. He will desire to meet me on the subject and will then endeavor to sell me his bogus package for a large sum of money. After that...
Letter, sir. Most important letter.
Unless I am greatly mistaken, the said communication is at hand. It is. Read it, Watson. There's a good fellow. My eyes. You know, cocaine and all those things you like so much.
Dear Sir,
Who thus addresses me?
James Larrabee.
What a surprise. And what has James to say this evening?
Dear Sir,
I hope he won't say that again.
I have the honor to inform you that Miss Faulkner has changed her mind regarding the letters, etc., which you wish to obtain, and has decided to dispose of them for a monetary consideration. She has placed them in my hands for this purpose, and if you are in a position to offer a good round sum and pay it down at once in cash, the entire lot is yours. If you wish to negotiate, however, it must be tonight at the house of a friend of mine in the city. At 11 o'clock, you will be at the Guards Monument at the foot of Waterloo Place. You will see a cab with wooden shutters to the windows. Enter it, and the driver will bring you to my friend's house. If you have the cab followed, or try any other underhand trick, you won't get what you want. Let me know your decision. Yours truly, James Larrabee.
Now see if I have the points. Tonight, 11 o'clock, Guards Monument. Cab with wooden shutters. No one to come with me, no one to follow cab, or I don't get what I want.
Quite right.
Ah,
But this cab with the wooden shutters.
a little device to keep me from seeing where I am driven. Billy,
Yes, sir.
who brought it?
It was a woman, sir.
Ah, old, young,
Very old, sir.
in a cab?
Yes, sir.
Seen the driver before?
Yes, sir. But I can't think where.
Hand this over to the old lady. Apologize for the delay and look at the driver again.
Yes, sir.
My dear Holmes, you did not say you would go.
Certainly I did.
But it is the counterfeit.
The counterfeit is what I want,
Why so?
because with it I shall obtain the original. Mademoiselle?
but this fellow means mischief.
This fellow means the same. Be so good, mademoiselle, as to listen to every word. Tonight at 12 o'clock, I meet Mr. Larrabee and purchase from him the false bundle of letters to which you just now heard us refer, as you were listening at the keyhole of the door.
Oui, monsieur.
I wish Miss Faulkner to know at once that I propose to buy this package tonight.
I will tell her, monsieur.
That is my wish, but do not tell her that I know that this packet and its contents to be counterfeit. She is to suppose that I think I am buying the genuine.
Oh, oui, monsieur, je comprends. When you purchase, you think you have surreal.
Precisely. One more thing. Tomorrow evening, I shall want you to accompany her to this place. Sir Edward Leighton and Count von Strahlberg will be here to receive the package from me. However, you will receive further instructions as to this in the morning.
Oui, monsieur.
Foreman,
Yes, sir.
change to your beggar disguise number 14 and go through every place in the Riverside district. Don't stop till you get a clue as to this new partner of the Larrabees. I must have that. I must have that.
Very well, sir.
If you please, sir, there's a man awaiting at the street door, and he says he must speak to Mr. Foreman, sir, as quick as he can.
You better have a look at that man, Billy. Show him up.
He can't come up, sir. He's watching a man in the street. He says he's from Scotland Yard.
I better go see who it is, sir.
No. Well, take a look at first. Be ready for anything.
Trust me for that, sir.
Billy, see what he does.
Yes, sir.
This is becoming interesting. Look here, Holmes. You've been so kind as to give me a half a look into this case.
What case?
This strange case of Miss...
Quite so. One moment, my dear fellow. Mr. Foreman, is he there still?
No, sir, he's gone.
That's all.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
As you were saying, Watson, strange case of...
Of Miss Faulkner.
Precisely. The strange case of Miss Faulkner.
You've given me some idea of it. Now, don't you think it would be only fair to let me have the rest?
What shall I tell you?
Tell me what you propose to do with the counterfeit package which you are going to risk your life to obtain.
I intend, with the aid of the counterfeit, to make her willingly hand me the genuine. I shall accomplish this by a piece of trickery and deceit of which I am heartily ashamed, and which I would never have undertaken if I had known her as I do now. It's too bad. She's rather a nice girl, Watson.
Nice girl, is she? Then you think that possibly...
I beg your pardon, sir. Mr. Foreman's just sent over from the chemist's on the corner to say his head is paining him a bit, and would Dr. Watson kindly step over and get him something to put on it?
Yes, certainly. I'll go at once. That's singular. It didn't look like anything serious. I'll be back in a minute, Holmes.
Billy?
Yes, sir.
Who brought that message from Foreman?
Boy from the chemist, sir.
Yes, of course, but which boy?
It must have been a new one, sir. I ain't never seen him before.
Quick, Billy, run down and look after the doctor. If the boy's gone and there's a man with him, it means mischief. Let me know quick. Don't stop to come up. Ring the doorbell. I'll hear it. Ring it loud. Quick now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ah! Let go of me! Let go of me! Look out, Mr. Holmes!
a dangerous habit to finger loaded firearms in the pocket of one's dressing gown.
You'll be taken from here to the hospital if you keep that hand behind you. In that case, the table will do quite as well.
You evidently do not know me.
I think it quite evident that I do. Please take a chair, Professor. I can spare you 5 minutes if you have anything to say. What were you about to do?
Look at my watch.
I'll tell you when the 5 minutes is up.
All that I have to say has already crossed your mind.
My answer thereto has already crossed yours.
It is your intention to pursue this case against me.
That is my intention to the very end.
Oh, I do regret this. Not so much on my own account, but on yours.
I share your regrets, Professor, but solely because of the rather uncomfortable position it will cause you to occupy.
May I inquire to what position you are pleased to allude, Mr. Holmes? And have you the faintest idea that you would be permitted to live to see the day?
As to that, I do not particularly care, so that I might bring you to see it.
You will never bring me to see it. You will find... You are a bold man, Mr. Holmes, to insinuate such a thing to my face. But it is the boldness born of ignorance. You will never bring me to see it. You will never bring me to see it. I tell you, it is the boldness born of ignorance. Do you think that I would be here if I had not made the streets quite safe in every respect?
Oh no, I could never so grossly overestimate your courage as that.
Do you imagine that your friend the doctor and your man Foreman will soon return?
Possibly not.
So it leaves us quite alone, doesn't it, Mr. Holmes? Quite alone, so that we can talk the matter over quietly and not be disturbed. In the first place, I wish to call your attention to a few memoranda which I have jotted down, which I'm sure you will find.
Look out, take your hand away. Get your hands down. A little further away from the memorandum book you are talking about.
Why, I was merely about to show
Well,
you.
merely don't do it.
But I would like to show you.
I don't want to see it.
But if you will allow me.
I don't care for it at all. I don't require any notebooks. If you want it so badly, we'll have someone get it for you. I always like to save my guests unnecessary trouble.
I observe that your boy does not answer the bell.
No, but I have an idea that he will before long.
It may possibly be longer than you think, Mr. Holmes.
What, that boy?
Yes, your boy.
At least we will try the bell once more, Professor.
Doesn't it occur to you that he may possibly have been detained, Mr. Holmes?
It does, but I also observe that you are in very much the same predicament.
I beg pardon, sir. Someone tried to hold me, sir.
It is quite evident, however, that he failed to do so.
Yes, sir. He's got my coat, but he ain't got me.
Billy?
Yes, sir.
The gentleman I am pointing out to you with this 6-shooter desires us to get something out of his left-hand coat pocket. Ah, I thought so. Left-hand coat pocket. As he's not feeling quite himself today, and the exertion might prove injurious. Suppose you attend to it.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Is this it, sir?
It has the general outline of being it. Quite so. Put it on the table.
ah,
Not there, Billy. Push it a little further this way. That's more like it.
Shall I see if he's got another one, sir?
Why, Billy, you surprise me. After the gentleman has taken the trouble to inform you he hasn't?
When, sir?
When he made a snatch for this one. Now that we have your little memorandum book, Professor, do you think of anything else you'd like before Billy goes? Any little thing that you've got that you want? No? I am sorry. That's all, Billy.
Thank you, sir.
Rather a rash project of yours, Moriarty, even though you have made the street quite safe in every respect, to make use of that thing so early in the evening in this part of town.
listen to me. On the 4th of January, you crossed my path. On the 23rd, you incommoded me. And now, at the close of April, I find myself placed in such a position through your continual interference that I am in positive danger of losing my liberty.
Have you any suggestion to make?
No, I have no suggestion to make. I have a fact to state. If you do not drop it at once, your life is not worth that.
I shall be pleased to drop it. At 10 o'clock tomorrow night.
Why then?
Because at that hour, Moriarty, your life will not be worth that. You will be under arrest.
But at that hour, Sherlock Holmes, your eyes will be closed in death.
I'm afraid, Professor, that in the pleasure of this conversation, I am neglecting more important business.
But I came here this evening to see if peace could not be arranged between us.
Ah, yes, I saw that. Rather good.
You have seen fit not only to reject my proposals, but to make insulting references coupled with threats of arrest.
Quite so, quite so.
Well, you have been warned of your danger. You do not heed that warning. Perhaps you will heed this.
Oh, ha ha. Here. I didn't suppose you'd use that thing again, so I took all your cartridges out and put them in my pocket. You'll find them all there, Professor. Billy,
Yes, sir.
show this gentleman nicely to the door.
Yes, sir. This way, sir.
No.
Billy, come here.
Yes, sir.
Billy, you're a good boy.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
What's Mattel doing here?
I was sent here.
I thought the sheriff was in on this job.
He ain't.
Who was the last you put the gas on?
I didn't hear his name. He'd been holding back some money on an all-out some railway place.
What's this here job he wants done?
I ain't been told.
As long as we're here, we know what it's likely to be.
Does any one of you blokes know if this is a place where I meet's alphabetic? From what you say, I take it you don't.
We ain't knowing no such man. He may be here, and he may not.
Oh, It's quite right then. Thank you. Nice old place to find this here is. And when you do find it, can't say it's any too cheerful.
Here. Don't light that. It ain't safe.
If it ain't asking too much, what's the matter with this place? It looks all right to me.
Well, don't light no matches, and it'll stay looking the same.
Right then.
Since you're here, I was looking for you outside.
You tell me to be here, sir? That was how the last arrangement stood?
All right, very well, very well. You got the rub, Craigie?
It's here.
All right, good. Now you know.
Aye, sir.
Okay, Matei.
Yes, sir.
All right, now listen up. You want to be very careful tonight. You got a tough one.
You ain't said who, as I've heard.
That's Sherlock Holmes.
You mean that, sir?
Indeed, I'll do.
We're going to count him out.
Well, if you don't, and he gets away, I'm going to feel real sorry for you then.
I'll be cursed glad to put the gas on him, I tell you that.
I say the same myself.
Some more is coming.
Not the governor.
Yeah, he wanted to see this. Hello, sir.
Where is Cragen? Have you got your men?
All here, sir.
Now, no mistakes tonight.
I'll be careful of that.
Now, that door, Bassick.
Small cupboard, sir.
No outlet.
None whatsoever.
Ah. And that window.
That one's nailed down, sir.
Well, a man might break the glass.
If he did, he'd come against a heavy iron bars outside.
We'll have him tied down before he can break the glass, sir.
Ah, you've used it before. Of course you know if it's airtight.
Every crevice is caught, sir.
And that door?
That opening is pointed up. Solid. And as you can see, it's double thickness.
Ah, whoever does it, I don't know. But when they turn the gas on him, they leave by that door?
Yes, sir.
It can be made quite secure.
Yeah, you got heavy bolts on the outside, sir, and there's solid bars all over. Everywhere.
Let me see how quick you can operate them.
Well, the man's tied down, sir, and there's really no need to hurry.
Let me see how quick you can operate them.
Leary.
Yes, sir.
That's all. Cragen, you will take your men outside that door and wait till Mr. Larrabee has had a little business interview with the gentleman. Take them up the passage to the left so Holmes does not see them as he comes in. Who's driving the cab tonight?
I'll send to Hagen. His orders are to drive him about for about an hour so he doesn't know where the distance or the direction he's going. And then to stop at the small door at Upper Swandon Lane. He's going to get him out there and then show him to this door.
And the cab windows are covered, of course.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wooden shutters, sir. Bolted and secure. There isn't a place you can see through the sides of a pin.
Well, we must have a lamp here.
Well, better not, sir. There might be some gas left.
You've got a lamp there.
That's a safety lamp, sir.
A safety lamp? No, you mustn't have that here. The moment he sees it, he'll know what you're doing and make trouble. Oh, there is hardly any gas. Go and tell Leska we must have a good lamp. And bring that table over here. Now, Cragen, the rest of you, one thing to remember. No shooting tonight, not a single shot. It can be heard in the alley below. The first thing is to get his revolver away before he has a chance to use it. Two of you attract his attention in front, and the other come up on him from behind and snatch it out of his pocket. Then you have him. You arrange that, Cregan.
I'll attend to it, sir. Stop. We'll want it when the other's taken away.
You mustn't see, understand?
No, don't put it out. Cover it with something.
Here.
Yes, that will do.
You mustn't stay any longer, sir. Oh, hey, you might be a little early.
Now, Mr. Larrabee, you understand they wait for you.
I understand, sir.
And I give you this opportunity to get what you can for your trouble. But anything that is found on him after you have finished is subject to the usual division.
That's all I want.
When you have quite finished and got your money, suppose you blow that little whistle which I observe hanging from your watch chain. And then these gentlemen will take their turn. And Cregan, at the proper moment, present my compliments to Mr. Sherlock Holmes and say that I wish him a pleasant journey to the other side.
You better put that rope out of sight.
You understand, sir? We're on this floor just around the far turn of the passage, so he won't see us as he's coming up.
I understand.
And it's when we hears that whistle, eh?
When you hear this whistle?
Look here, Jim. This sort of thing ain't so much in my line.
I suppose not.
When it comes to a shy at a safe or drilled into bank vaults, well, I feels perfectly at home, but I don't so much care to see a man, well, it ain't in my line.
Here. All I want of you is to go down on the corner below and let me know when he comes.
How will I let you know?
Have you got a whistle?
Certainly.
Well, when you see O'Hagan driving with him, come down the alley there and blow it twice.
Yes, but ain't it quite likely to call a cab at the same time?
What more do you want? Take the cab and go home.
Oh, then you won't need me here again.
No.
Oh, very well then. I'll tear myself away.
What do you want?
It's true then.
How did you get to this place?
I followed you in a cab.
What have you been doing since I came up here? Informing the police?
No,
Perhaps?
I was afraid he'd come, so I waited.
Oh, to warn him, very likely.
Yes, to warn him.
Then it's just as well you came up.
I came to make sure
Of what?
that something else is not going to be done besides what they told me.
Ah, somebody told you something. Someone else was going to get something done to them?
Yes.
So, we've got another spy in the house.
You're going to swindle and deceive him. I know that. Is there anything
What
more?
could you do if there was anything more?
I could buy you off. Such men as you are always open to sale.
How much would you give?
The genuine package. The real ones. All the proofs. Everything.
Have you got it with you?
No, but I can get it.
Oh. So you'll do all that for this man. You think he's your friend, I suppose.
I haven't thought of it.
Look what he's doing now. Coming here to buy those things off me.
They're false. They're counterfeit.
He thinks they're genuine, doesn't he? He'd hardly come here to buy them if he didn't.
He may ask my permission still.
He won't get the chance.
Won't get the chance. Then there is something else.
Something else? Why, you see me here myself, don't you? I'm going to talk to him on a little business. How can I do him any harm?
Where are those men who came up here?
What men?
3 villainous-looking men. I saw them go in at the street door.
Oh, those men. They went up the other stairway. You can see them in the next building if you look out this window.
I'll look in the passageway, if you please.
Yes, but I don't please.
You wouldn't dare keep me here.
I might dare, but I won't. You'd be in the way.
Where are those men?
Stay where you are, and you'll see them very soon.
I knew it! You're going to do him some harm.
Oh no, it's only a little joke. At his expense.
You wanted the letters, the package I had in the safe. I'll get it for you. Let me go and I'll bring it here, or whatever you tell me. I'll give you my word not to say anything to anyone. Not to him, not to the policeman, not to anyone.
You needn't take the trouble to get it, but you can tell me where it is, and you'll have to be quick about it too.
Yes, if you promise not to go on with this.
Of course, that's understood.
You promise?
Certainly, I promise. Now, where is it?
Just outside my bedroom window. Just outside on the left, fastened between the shutter and the wall. You can easily find it.
Yes, I can easily find it.
Now tell them to go.
Tie her up so she can't make a noise. Keep her out there until we have Holmes in here. And then let O'Hagan keep her in his cab. She mustn't get back to the house, not till I've been there.
Go and get an old Larry. Hand me a piece of that rope.
Now then, my pretty bird.
You said if I told you.
Well, we haven't done him any harm yet, have we?
Then send them away.
Certainly. Go away now, boys. There's no more work for you tonight.
They don't obey you. They're
Now out of the door with her.
By God, he's here.
What?
That's Sid Prince. I put him on the watch.
We won't have time to get her out.
Shut her in there.
Yes, that'll do.
In with her. Open that door. Open that door.
There ain't no lock on this here door.
No lock.
No.
Drive something in.
Here, this knife.
A knife won't hold it.
Yes, it will. Drive it in strong.
I'll have to find us here.
Yes, and he won't either. We'll go on and do him up.
No, you won't. I'll see him first, if you please.
Them was orders, Cregan.
So it was.
There might be time to get back in the passage. They ain't got up one flight yet.
Quick then.
How the devil is it that you crooks always manage to hit the same places for your scoundrelly business? Well, I certainly thought after all this driving about in a closed cab, you'd show me something new.
Seen it before, have you?
Well, I should think so. I nabbed a friend of yours in this place while he was trying to drop himself out of that window. Ned Colvin, the cracksman?
Colvin. I never heard of him before.
No? Well, you certainly never heard of him after. A brace of counterfeiters used these regal chambers in the spring of '90. One of them hid in the cupboard. We pulled them out by the heels.
Ah, did you? And the other?
The other, he was more fortunate.
Ha! He got away, I suppose.
Yes, he got away. We took his remains out through that door to the street.
Quite interesting. Times have changed since then.
So they have, Mr. Larrabee, so they have. It was only cracksmen, counterfeiters, and petty swindlers of various kinds. Now,
Well, what now?
well, between you and me, Larrabee, we've heard some not altogether agreeable rumors. Rumors of some petty, pretty shady work not far from here. A murder or two of a very particular kind. And I've always had a suspicion. Yes, my surmise is correct. It is.
It is what?
Caulked.
What does that signify to us?
Nothing to us, Mr. Larrabee. Nothing to us. But it might signify a good deal to some poor devil who's been caught in this trap.
Well, if it's nothing to us, suppose we leave it and get to business. My time is limited.
Quite so, of course. I should have realized that reflections could not possibly appeal to you. But it so happens I take a deep interest in anything that pertains to what are known as the criminal classes. And this same interest makes me rather curious to know how you happen to select such a singularly gruesome place for an ordinary business transaction.
Selected this place as Mr. Holmes because I thought you might not be disposed to take such liberties here as you practiced in my own house last night.
Quite so, quite so. But why not?
You might not feel quite so much at home.
Oh, you've made a singular miscalculation. I feel perfectly at home, Mr. Larrabee, perfectly.
Well, I'm very glad to hear it. Here's the little packet, which is the object of this meeting. I haven't opened it yet, but Miss Faulkner tells me everything is there.
Then there's no need of opening it, Mr. Larrabee.
Oh, well, I want to see you satisfied.
Oh, that is precisely the condition in which you now behold me. Miss Faulkner is a truthful young lady. Her word is sufficient.
Very well. Now, what shall we say, Mr. Holmes? Of course, we want a pretty large price for this. Miss Faulkner is giving up everything. She would not be satisfied unless the result justified it.
Suppose, Mr. Larrabee, that as Miss Faulkner knows nothing whatsoever about this affair, we omit her name from the discussion.
Who told you she doesn't know?
You did. Every look, tone, gesture, everything you have said and done since I have been in this room has informed me that she has never consented to this transaction. It is a little speculation of your own.
Ha! I suppose you think you can read me like a book.
No, like a primer.
Well, let that pass. How much you'll give?
£1,000.
I couldn't take it.
What do you ask?
5,000.
I couldn't give it.
Very well. We've had all this trouble for nothing.
Oh, don't say that, Mr. Larrabee. To me, the occasion has been doubly interesting. I have not only had the pleasure of meeting you again, but I have also availed myself of the opportunity of making observations regarding this place, which may not come amiss.
Why, I've been offered 4,000 for this little.
Why didn't you take it?
Because I intend to get more.
Oh, that's too bad.
If they offered 4,000, they'll give 5.
They won't give anything.
Why not?
They turned the case over to me.
Will you give 3,000?
Mr. Larrabee, strange as it may appear, my time is limited as well as yours. I have brought with me the sum of £1,000, which is all that I wish to pay. If it is your desire to sell at this figure, kindly appraise me of the fact at once. If not, permit me to wish you a very good evening.
Go on. You can have them. It's too small a matter to haggle over. Oh, I thought you said you had brought just 1,000.
I did. This is it.
You brought a trifle more, I see.
Quite so. I didn't say I hadn't brought more.
Ha! You can do your little tricks when it comes to it, can't you?
It depends who I'm dealing with. Now I have you where I want you, Jim Larrabee. You've been so cunning, so cautious, and so wise. We couldn't find a thing to hold you for. But this little slip will get you in for robbery.
Oh, you'll have me in, will you? What are your views about being able to get away from here yourself?
I do not anticipate any particular difficulty.
Perhaps you'll change your mind about that.
Whether I change my mind or not, I certainly shall leave this place, and your arrest will shortly follow.
My arrest? Ha, ha. Robbery, huh? Why, even if you got away from here, you haven't got a witness. Not a witness to your name.
I'm not so sure of that, Mr. Larrabee. Do you usually fasten that door with a knife?
Mm.
Come away from that door.
Stand back, you contemptible scoundrel. What does this mean?
I'll show you what it means, curse it quick.
I'm afraid you're badly hurt, Miss Faulkner.
No, Mr. Holmes!
Ah, Cragen, delighted to see you. Oh, and you too, Miss McTagg. I infer from your presence here at this particular juncture that I am not dealing with Mr. Larrabee alone.
Your inference is quite correct, Mr. Holmes.
It is not difficult to imagine who is at the bottom of such a conspiracy as this. I hope you're beginning to feel a little more yourself, Miss Faulkner, because we shall leave here very soon.
Yes, do let us go, Mr. Holmes.
You'll have to wait a bit, Mr. Holmes. We have a little matter of business we'd like to talk over.
All right. All right, Cragen. I'll see you tomorrow morning in your cell at Bow Street.
Very sorry, sir, but I can't wait till morning. It's got to be settled tonight.
All right, Cragen, we'll settle it tonight.
It's so very important, Mr. Holmes. So very important indeed that you'll have to tend to it now. Have you got his revolver?
Cheers.
Ah, Leary, it is a pleasure indeed. It needed only your blithe personality to make the party complete. There's only one other I could wish to welcome here, and that is the talented author of this Midnight Carnival. We shall have him, however, by tomorrow night.
Though he ain't here, Mr. Holmes. He gave me a message for you. He presented his kindest compliments and wished you a pleasant trip across.
That's very kind of him, I'm sure.
You're writing your will, I suppose.
No. Only a brief description of one or two of you gentlemen for the police. We know the rest.
And when will you give it to him, Mr. Holmes?
In 9 or 9.5 minutes, Leary.
Oh, you expect to leave here in 9 minutes, huh?
In 1. It will take me 8 minutes to find a policeman. This is a dangerous neighborhood.
Well, when you're ready to start, let us know.
I'm ready.
Wait a bit. You'd better listen to me, Mr. Holmes. We're going to tie you down nice and tight to the top of that table.
Well, by Jove, I don't think you will. That's my idea, you know.
And you'll save yourself a deal of trouble if you submit quiet and easy like, because if you don't, you might get knocked about a bit.
Oh, Mr. Holmes.
Come away from him. Come over here if you don't want to get hurt.
My child, if you don't want to get hurt, don't leave me for a second.
Aren't you coming?
No.
Better look out, miss, or you might get killed.
Then you can kill me too.
I'm afraid you don't mean that, Miss Faulkner.
Yes, I do.
No, you would not say it at another time or place.
I would say it anywhere. Always.
So you'll have it out with us, eh?
Do you imagine for a moment, Kragan, that I wouldn't have it out with you?
Well then, I'll have to give you one, same as I did your right-hand man this afternoon.
Ah, you heard him say that, same as he did my right-hand man this afternoon.
Yes, yes.
Don't forget that face. In 3 days, I shall ask you to identify it in the prisoner's dock.
Ah!
Yes, and the rest of you with him. You surprise me, gentlemen, thinking you're sure of anybody in this room, and never once taking the trouble to look at that window. If you wanted to make it perfectly safe, you should have had those missing bars put in.
Bars or no bars, you're not going to get out of here as easy as you expect.
There are so many ways, Mr. Larrabee, I hardly know which to choose.
Well, you'd better choose quick, I can tell you that.
I'll choose at once, Mr. Kragan, and my choice falls on this.
Trace him by the cigar. Follow the cigar.
Look out! He's going for the window. Get that light.
The safety lamp. Where is it?
You'll find that cigar in a crevice by the window.
Ah,
Be careful to make no mistake about the medicine. If she's no better tomorrow, I'll call. You will let me know, of course.
oh, yes, indeed, I will. Good evening, sir.
Good night, Mrs. Smeedley. Parsons? That woman who just left, do you know her?
I can't say as I recollect I haven't seen her before. Was there anything?
Oh, no. Acted a little strange, that's all. I thought I saw her looking about the hall before she went out.
Yes, sir. She did give a look. I saw that myself, sir.
Oh, well, I dare say it was nothing. Is there anyone waiting, Parsons?
There's one person in the waiting room, sir. A gentleman.
I'll see him, but I've only a short time left. If any more come, you must send them over to Dr. Anstruther. I spoke to him this afternoon about taking my cases. I have an important appointment at 9.
Very well, sir. Then you'll see this gentleman, sir?
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Pray be seated.
Thanks, don't mind if I do.
What seems to be the trouble?
A throat, sir. Most dreadful sore throat.
Sore throat, eh?
Oh, I should think it is. It's the most harrowing thing I ever had. It pains me so much to swallow that I...
Hurts you to swallow, does it?
Indeed it does, sir. Why, I can hardly get a bit of food down.
Just step this way a moment, please. Now, mouth wide open, wide as possible. That's it. Say ah. Where do you feel this pain?
Oh, just about there, doctor. Inside, about there.
That's singular. I don't find anything wrong.
You may not find anything wrong, but I feel it wrong. If you would only give me something to take away this awful agony.
That's nothing. It'll pass away in a few hours. Singular thing, it would have affected your voice in this way. Well, I'll give you a gargle. It may help you a little.
Oh, yes, if only you would, doctor.
What are you doing there?
Oh, why, nothing at all, doctor. I felt such a draft on the back of me neck. Don't you know that I opened the door to see where it come from?
Parsons, show this man the shortest way to the street door and close the door after him.
But doctor, you don't understand.
I understand quite enough. Good evening.
You know, the draft plays hell with me throat, sir, and seems to affect my...
Good evening.
This way, sir, if you please.
I consider that you've treated me damned outrageous. That's what I do, and you won't hear the last of this very soon.
Come, none of that now.
You call yourself a doctor and treat sick people as comes to see you this here way? You call yourself a doctor? A bloomin' fine doctor you are.
I shall be at Mr. Holmes in Baker Street. If there's anything special, you'll know where to send for me. The appointment was for 9. It's 15 minutes past 8 now. I'm going to walk over.
Very well, sir.
No, I won't see any more tonight. I must go to Dr. Anstruther.
Yes, sir.
Parsons, why aren't those blinds down?
They was down a few minutes ago, sir.
That's strange. Well, you better put them down now.
Yes, sir. If you please, sir, it isn't a patient at all, sir.
Well, what is it?
A lady, sir. And she wants to see you most particular, sir.
What does she want to see me about?
She didn't say, sir. Only she said it was of the utmost importance to her. If you could see her, sir.
Is she there in the hall?
Yes, sir.
Very well. I was going to walk for the exercise. I can take a cab.
Then you'll see the lady, sir.
Yes. And call a cab for me at the same time. Have it wait.
Yes, sir.
Ah, Doctor, it's awfully good of you to see me. I know what a busy man you must be, but I'm in such trouble. Oh, it's really too dreadful. You'll excuse me troubling you in this way, won't you?
Don't speak of it, madam.
Oh, thank you so much, for it did look frightful my coming in like this. But I'm not alone, oh no, I left my maid in the cab. I'm Mrs. H. DeWitt Seaton. Dear me, I didn't bring my card case, or if I did, I lost it.
Don't trouble about a card, Mrs. Seaton.
Oh, thank you. You don't know what I've been through this evening, trying to find someone who could tell me what to do. It's something that's happened, Doctor. It has just simply happened. I know that it wasn't his fault. I know it.
Whose fault?
My brother's. My poor dear youngest brother. He couldn't have done such a thing. He simply couldn't.
Such a thing as what, Mrs. Seaton?
As to take the plans of our defences at Gibraltar from the Admiralty offices. They think he stole them, Doctor, and they've arrested him for it. You see, he works there. He was the only one who knew about them in the whole office, because they trusted him so. He was to make copies, and, oh, Doctor, it's too dreadful.
I'm very sorry, Mrs. Seaton.
Oh, thank you so much. They said you were Mr. Holmes's friend. Several people told me that. Several. They advised me to ask you where I could find him. And everything depends on it, Doctor. Everything.
Holmes, of course. He's just the one you want.
That's it. He's just the one. And there's hardly any time left. They'll take my poor brother away to prison tomorrow.
There, Mrs. Seaton. Pray control yourself.
Now, what would you advise me to do?
I'd go to Mr. Holmes at once.
But I've been, and he wasn't there.
You went to his house?
Yes, in Baker Street. That's why I came to you. They said he might be here.
No, he isn't here.
But don't you expect him sometime this evening?
No, there's no possibility of his coming, so far as I know.
But couldn't you get him to come? It would be such a great favor to me. I'm almost worn out with going about, and with this dreadful anxiety. If you could get word to him to come.
I could not get him to come, madam, and I beg you to excuse me. I'm going out myself on urgent business.
Oh, certainly. Don't let me detain you. And you think I had better call at his house again?
That will be the wisest thing to do.
Oh, thank you so much. You don't know how you've encouraged me. Well, good night, Doctor.
What's that, Parsons?
I can't really say, sir, but it sounds to me like a accident.
Oh, dear. I do hope it isn't anything serious. It affects me terribly to know that someone is hurt.
Probably nothing more than a broken down cab. See what it is, Parsons.
There's the bell, sir. There's somebody hurt, sir, and they're wanting you.
Well, don't allow anybody to come in. I have no more time.
Very well, sir.
But they're coming in, Doctor.
Parsons? Parsons.
We had to bring him in, man.
There's nowhere else to go, baby.
The doctor can't see anybody.
Oh, well, let the old gent lay here a while, can't you? It's common decency. What are you got a red lamp hanging outside your bloomin' door for?
Yes, let him stay.
They would bring him in, sir. It's an old gentleman as was hurt a bit when the cab upset.
Oh.
Let them put him here. And send at once for Dr. Anstruther.
Yes, sir.
Help him in, Parsons.
Oh, Doctor, isn't it frightful?
Mrs. Seaton, if you'll be so good as to step this way, you can reach the hall by taking the first door to your left.
But I may be of some use, Doctor.
None whatever.
But, Doctor, I must see the poor fellow. I haven't the power to go.
Madam, I believe you have some ulterior motive in coming here. You will kindly...
Oh!
This way, sir. Be careful of the sill, sir. That.
Now, we'll go in here. You'll see the doctor and it'll be all right.
No, it won't be all right.
It was an accident. You can't help an accident.
Yes, you can.
He was on the wrong side of the street. I turned up and
Now, over to this chair.
No, I'll sit here.
No, this is the chair, sir.
Don't I know where I want to sit?
You'll sit here. Now the doctor will have a look at you. There's the doctor.
That isn't a doctor.
It is a doctor. Here, doctor, will you come and have a look at this old gent? He's hurt himself a little. And
Wait. Are you the driver?
Yes. I'm the driver.
Well, I'll have you arrested for this.
Arrested?
Arrested.
You can't arrest me.
I can't, but somebody else can.
Here.
You are a very disagreeable man. You are totally uninformed on every subject. I wonder you are able to live in the same house with yourself. Are you a driver?
No, sir.
Well, what are you?
I'm the butler, sir.
Butler?
He's the doctor's servant.
Who'd have such a rum-looking butler as you? What fool
He's
would?
the doctor's servant.
Who asked you who he was?
Never mind who's asked me, I'm telling you.
Well, go and tell somebody else.
Sit down. Sit down here and be quiet.
Have a cab ready for me. I must see if he's badly hurt.
Yes, sir.
Quiet. Where's my hat?
Never mind your hat.
I will mind my hat, and I hold you
There's your hat
responsible.
in your hand.
That isn't my hat. Yeah, you're responsible. I'll have you arrested. Yeah. Come back.
I can't stay around here, you know. Someone will be pinching me cab.
And bring your cab in here. Why didn't somebody stop him? His cab him. What did he bring me in here for? I know where I am. It's a conspiracy. I won't stay in this place if I ever get out of here alive.
Parsons, that man's number. Now, sir, if you'll be quiet for one moment, I'll have a look at you.
Don't let her get to that window.
Is that you, Holmes?
Quite so.
What do you want me to do?
That's all. You've done it. Don't do anything more just now.
Look out, Holmes. She can get out that way.
I don't think so. Well, what remarkable weather we're having, Doctor A. I'm glad to see that you keep a few prescriptions carefully done up. Good for the nerves. Have you ever observed, Watson, that those people are always making...
I've got her, sir.
Good heavens. Is that Foreman?
Yes, that's Foreman, all right.
Yes,
Has
sir.
Inspector
One of them is
Bradshaw come with his men?
Yes, sir. One of them is out in the hall holding her. The others are in the kitchen garden. They came in over the back wall from Mortimer Street.
One moment. Watson, my dear fellow, as you doubtless gather from this little episode that has just taken place, we are making the arrest. The scoundrels are hot on my track. To get me out of the way is the one chance left to them, and I'm taking advantage of their mad pursuit to draw them where we could quietly lay our hands on them, one by one. We made a pretty good haul already. 4 last night in the gas chamber, 7 this afternoon in various places, and 1 more just now. But I regret to say that up to this time, the professor himself has so far not risen to the bait.
Where do you think he is now?
In the open streets, under some clever disguise, watching for a chance to get at me.
And this woman was sent in here to...
Quite so. A spy, to let them know by some signal, probably at that window, if she found me in the house. And it has just occurred to me that it might not be such a bad idea to try the professor with that bait. Foreman.
Yes, sir.
One moment. Bring that Larrabee back here for a moment, and when I light a fresh cigarette, let go your hold on her, carelessly, as if your attention was attracted to something else. Get hold of her again when I tell you.
Very well, sir.
My dear Mrs. Larrabee, I took the liberty of having you brought in here for a moment in order to convey to you in a few fitting words my sincere sympathy in your rather unpleasant predicament.
It's a lie. It's a lie. There's no predicament.
I'm charmed to gather from your rather forcible observation that you do not regard it as such. Quite right, too. Our prisons are so well conducted now, many consider them quite as comfortable as most of the hotels. Quieter and more orderly.
How the prisons are conducted is no concern of mine. There is nothing they can hold me for. Nothing.
Oh, to be sure. There may be something in that. Still, it occurs to me that you might prefer to be near your unfortunate husband. We hear a great deal about the heroic devotion of wives and all that. You know, Mrs. Larrabee, when we come right down to it, many thanks. That's all, Foreman. Pick her up again. Doctor, would you kindly put the blind down once more? I don't care to be shot from the street.
It's too late.
Too late, eh?
The signal is given. You will hear from him soon.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. I think I shall hear from him now. Let him go, Parsons. Quick, Billy.
He's just come, sir.
From where?
The house across the street. He was in there watching these windows. He must have seen something for he's just come out. There was a cab awaiting in the street for the doctor, and he's changed places with the driver.
Where did the driver go?
He slunk away in the dark, sir, but he ain't gone far. There's 2 or 3 more hanging about.
Another driver tonight?
They're all in it, sir, and they're allaying to get you in that cab when you come out, sir. But don't you do it, sir.
On the contrary, sir, I'll have that new driver in here. Get out again quick, Billy, and keep your eye on him.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Watson, can you let me have a heavy portmanteau for a few moments?
Parsons, my large Gladstone. Bring it here.
Yes, sir.
I'm afraid it's pretty shabby looking.
Many thanks, Mrs. Larrabee, but your first signal is all that we require. By it, you informed your friend Moriarty that I was here in the house. You are now aware of the fact that he is impersonating a driver and that it is my intention to have him in here. You wish to signal that there is danger. There is danger, Mrs. Larrabee, but we don't care to have you let him know it. Take her out, Foreman, and make her comfortable and happy. And by the way, you might tell the inspector to wait a few moments. I may send him another lot. You can't tell.
Come along now.
Fine woman. Put it down there. Thank you so much. Parsons, you ordered a cab for the doctor a short time ago? It has been waiting, I believe?
Yes, sir. I think it has.
Be so good as to tell the driver, the one you'll find there now, to come in here and get a valise. See that he comes in himself. When he comes, tell him that's the one.
But surely he won't come in.
Surely he will. It's his only chance to get me in that cab. He'll take almost any risk for that. In times like this, you should tell your man never to take the first cab that comes on a call. Nor yet the second. The third might be safe.
But in this case?
My dear fellow, I admit that in this case, I have it to my advantage. But I speak for your future guidance.
Here it is, right in this way.
Well, goodbye, old fellow. I'll write you from Paris, and I hope you'll keep me fully informed of the progress of events. As for these papers, I'll attend to them personally. Here's my man. Just help me tighten up these straps a bit. There are a few things in this bag that I wouldn't like to lose. It's just as well, eh? Who's that at the window?
Oh,
Doctor, will you kindly strike the bell 2 or 3 times in rapid succession? Thanks. Woman?
Yes.
Got a man there with you?
Yes, sir. The inspector came in himself.
Ah, the inspector himself. We shall read graphic accounts in tomorrow's paper of a very difficult arrest he succeeded in making at Dr. Watson's house in Kensington. Take him out, foreman, and introduce him to the inspector. They'll be pleased to meet.
no, no, no.
Here, wait. Let's see what he wants.
Do you imagine, Sherlock Holmes, that this is the end?
I ventured to dream that it might be.
Are you quite sure the police will be able to hold me?
I am quite sure of nothing.
Ah, I have heard that you are planning to take a little trip. You and your friend here. A little trip on the continent?
And if I do?
I shall meet you there.
That's all, foreman.
I shall meet you there. You will change your course. You will try to elude me, but whatever way you turn, there will be eyes that see and wires that tell. I shall meet you there, and you know it. You know it. And you know it.
Did you hear that, Watson?
Yes, but surely you don't place any importance on such.
Oh, no importance. But I have a fancy that he spoke the truth.
We'll give up the trip.
It would be quite the same. What matters it here or there if it must come?
Parsons.
Watson, my dear fellow, it's too bad. Now that all this is over, I suppose you imagine that your room will no longer be required. Let me assure you, the worst is yet to come.
The worst? Why, heavens, Holmes, we barely have 5 minutes.
For what?
To get to Baker Street, your rooms. Your appointment with Sir Edward and the Count? They were to receive that packet of letters from you.
They're coming here.
Here?
That is, if you will be so good as to permit it.
Certainly, but why not there?
The police wouldn't allow us inside the ropes.
Police? Ropes?
Police, ropes, ladders, hose, crowds, engines.
Why, you don't mean that...
Quite so. The devils have burned me out.
Good heavens, burned you? Oh, that's too bad. What did you lose?
Everything. Everything. And I'm so glad of it. I've had enough. This one thing ends it. This one thing that I shall do here in a few moments is the finish.
You mean Miss Faulkner?
Watson. She trusted me. She clung to me. There were 4-1 against me. They said, come here. I said, stay close to me. And she did. She clung to me. I could feel her heart beating against mine. And I was playing a game, a dangerous game, but I was playing it. It will be the same tonight. She'll be there. I'll be here. She'll listen. She'll believe, and she'll trust me. And I'll be playing a game. No more. I've had enough. This is my last case. Oh, well, what does it matter? Life is a small affair at the most. A little while, a few sunrises and sunsets, the warm breath of a few summers, the cold chill of a few winters, and then...
And then?
And then...
My dear Holmes, I'm afraid that plan of gaining her confidence and regard went a little further than you intended.
A trifle.
For her or for you?
For her. And for me.
But if you both love each other...
Shh, don't say it. You mustn't tempt me with such a thought. That girl, young, exquisite, just beginning her sweet life. I, seared, drugged, poisoned, almost at an end. No, no, I must cure her. I must stop it. Now, while there's time. She's coming here.
She won't come alone?
No, Therese will be with her. When she comes, let her wait in that room. You can manage that, I'm quite sure.
Certainly. Do you intend to leave that book there?
To keep that door from closing. She is to overhear.
I see.
Sir Edward and the Count are very likely to become excited. I shall endeavor to make them so. You must not be alarmed, old fellow. She may be there now. I'll go to your dressing room, if you allow me, and brush away some of this dust.
By all means. My wife is in the drawing room. Do look in on her a moment. It will please her so much.
My dear fellow, it will more than please me. Mrs. Watson, home, love, life. Ah, Watson.
A lady, sir, wants to know if she can speak to you. If there's anyone here, she won't come in.
Any name?
No, sir. I asked her, and she said it was unnecessary, as you wouldn't know her. She has her maid, sir.
Then it must be. Show her in. And Parsons. 2 gentlemen, Count von Stauberg and Sir Edward Leighton, will call. Bring them here to this room at once, and then tell Mr. Holmes. You'll find him in my dressing room.
Yes, sir.
Send everybody else away. I'll see that lady.
Yes, sir.
Is this Dr. Watson's room?
Yes, and I am Dr. Watson.
Would you mind telling me if Mr. Holmes and Mr. Sherlock Holmes is here?
He will be before long, Miss,
My name is Alice Faulkner.
Miss Faulkner. He came a short time ago, but has gone upstairs for a few moments.
Oh, and is he coming down soon?
Well, the fact is, Miss Faulkner, he has an appointment with two gentlemen here, and I was to let him know as soon as they arrived.
Do you suppose I could wait without troubling you too much and see him afterwards?
Why, certainly.
Thank you. And I don't want him to know that I came.
Of course. If you wish, there's no need of my telling him.
It's very important indeed that you don't, Dr. Watson. I can explain it all to you afterwards.
No explanation is necessary, Miss Faulkner.
Thank you. I suppose there's a waiting room for patients?
Yes, or you could sit in there. You'll be less likely to be disturbed.
Yes. Thank you. I think I would rather be where it's entirely quiet.
Well, then step this way. I think the gentlemen have arrived.
And when the business between the gentlemen is over, would you please have someone tell me?
I'll tell you myself, Miss Faulkner.
Thank you.
Count von Starberg, Sir Edward Leighton.
Count? Sir Edward?
Dr. Watson, good evening. Our appointment with Mr. Holmes was changed to your house, I believe.
Quite right, Sir Edward. Pray be seated, gentlemen.
Mr. Holmes is a little late.
He has already arrived, Count. I have sent for him.
It was quite a surprise to receive his message an hour ago, changing the place of meeting. We should otherwise have gone to his house in Baker Street.
You would have found it in ashes, Sir Edward.
What? Really? The house burnt?
Burning now, probably.
I'm very sorry to hear this. It must be a severe blow to him.
No, he minds very little.
Really? I should hardly have thought it.
Did I understand you to say, Doctor, that you had sent for Mr. Holmes?
Yes, Count, and he'll be here shortly. Indeed, I think I hear him on the stairs now.
Gentlemen, be seated again, I beg. Our business tonight can be quickly disposed of. I need not tell you, gentlemen, for I have already told you, that the part I play in it is more than painful to me. But business is business, and sooner it's over, the better. You were notified to come here this evening in order that I might deliver into your hands the packet which you engaged me on behalf of your exalted client to recover. Let me say in justice to myself that but for that agreement on my part and the consequent steps which you took on the basis of it, I would never have continued with the work. As it was, however, I felt bound to do so, and therefore pursued the matter to the very end. And I now have the honor to deliver it into your hands.
Permit me to congratulate you, Holmes, upon the marvelous skill you have displayed and the promptness with which you have fulfilled your agreement.
Oh, no, no.
What does this mean? These letters and these other things, where did you get them?
I purchased them last night.
Purchased them?
Quite so, quite so.
From whom, if I may ask?
From whom? From the parties interested, by the consent of Miss Faulkner.
You have been deceived.
What?
This packet contains nothing. Not a single letter or paper that we wanted. All clever imitations. The photographs are of another person. With all your supposed cleverness, they have tricked you.
Most decidedly duped, Mr. Holmes.
Why, this is terrible.
Terrible? Surely, sir, you do not mean by that there's a possibility you might not be able to recover them?
It's quite true.
After your positive assurance, after the steps we have taken in the matter by your advice, why this is...
Surely, sir, you don't mean there is no hope of it?
None whatsoever, Count. It is too late now. I can't begin all over again.
Why, this is scandalous. It is criminal, sir. You had no right to mislead us this way, and you shall certainly suffer the consequences. I shall see that you are brought into court for it, Mr. Holmes. It will be such a blow to your reputation that you...
There's nothing to do, Sir Edward. I am ruined, ruined.
He is not ruined, Sir Edward. It is entirely owing to him and what he said to me that I now wish to give you the...
One moment. Allow me. I notified you in my letter this morning that the package should be produced at 9:15. It is barely 14 past, and this is it. The one you have there, as you have already discovered, is a counterfeit.
Excellent.
Admirable, Mr. Holmes.
Oh, it is all clear now.
Really marvelous.
Oh, yes, yes. Upon my word.
My word.
Take this, Miss Faulkner. Take it away from me. Quick, it is yours. Never give it up. Use it only for what you wish.
What? We are not to have it?
No, you are not to have it.
After all this?
After all this.
But, my dear sir.
This is outrageous. Your agreement.
I break it. Do what you please. Warrant, summons, arrest will find me here. Get them out. Get them away.
I'm sure, gentlemen, that you will appreciate the fact.
Wait a moment, Dr. Watson. Here's the package, Sir Edward.
No.
Yes. I much prefer that he should have them. Since you last came that night and asked me to give them to you, I've thought about what you said. You were right. It was revenge.
We are greatly indebted to you, Miss Faulkner.
Oh, to be sure.
And to you too, Mr. Holmes, if this was part of the game. It was certainly an extraordinary method of obtaining possession of valuable papers. But we won't quarrel with the method as long as the accomplished desired result. Count?
Oh, certainly not, Sir Edward.
You have only to notify me the charge for your services, Mr. Holmes, and you'll receive a check. I have the honor to wish you good night. Dr. Watson, this way, Count.
Now that you think it over, Miss Faulkner, you are doubtless beginning to realize the series of tricks by which I sought to deprive you of your property. I couldn't take it out of the house that night like a straightforward thief because it could have been recovered at law. And for that reason, I resorted to a cruel and cowardly device which should induce you to relinquish it.
But you did not give it to them.
No, I preferred that you should do as you did. You see, Miss Faulkner, it was a trick, a deception, to the very end. Your maid is waiting.
And was it a trick last night when they tried to kill you?
I went there to purchase the counterfeit package, to use as you have seen.
And did you know I would come?
No. But it fell in with my plans notwithstanding. Now that you see me in my true light, Miss Faulkner, we have nothing left to say but good night and goodbye, which you ought to be very glad to do. Believe me, I meant you no harm. It was purely business with me. For that, you see, I would sacrifice everything, even my supposed friendship for you. It was a pretense, a sham. Everything that you...
I don't believe it.
Why not?
From the way you speak, from the way you look, from all sorts of things. You're not the only one who can tell things from small details.
Your faculty of observation is somewhat remarkable, Miss Faulkner, and your deduction is quite correct. I suppose, indeed I know, that I love you. I love you. But I know as well what I am and what you are. I know that no such person as I should ever dream of being a part of your sweet life. It would be a crime for me to think of such a thing. There is every reason why I should say goodbye and farewell. There's every reason.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming. I'm John Gardner, I'm the director. I know you are all clapping. They did a fantastic job tonight. And I want to thank you all for coming and watching tonight. If any of you are new to MAD, please check out the website and sign up for emails to learn about future shows and perhaps even the opportunity to participate in some of our future shows. I know there's going to be a round of applause now, so thank you for coming.